caught me dancing.
Yeah. I do have a surprise for next Friday. It's just
Okay.
not done yet.
Interesting. Well, hello, gentlemen. How are you both doing today?
Well,
Great.
yeah, and I'm doing well. I just carried my son in the last program. So yeah, he ain't
Thank
heavy.
you.
He's my son.
So that was figuratively, right, Ray? You weren't actually literally carrying him.
Just like there actually isn't a little guy living in the back of my TV.
Well, I have a question for both of you to start out today's show. You ready?
Yeah.
Are you a Frosty guy? Each of you. Do you like chocolate Frosties from Wendy's? Maybe even vanilla Frosties. Sometimes strawberry Frosties. Are you a Frosty guy? Let me know.
I am. I love Frosties, and I eat them more often than I would ever care to admit on air.
Yeah. Let's keep it PG, Justice. What about you, Ray?
And I am not. I am lactose intolerant. So if I were to do a Frosty, it would do damage to the entire ecosystem of our great planet.
And to the sewer
and my own.
Fair enough. And Ray, I am petrol intolerant. So
who?
I'm petrol intolerant. Gas intolerant.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah,
not me, buddy. Not me. give me gas or give me death. It's just that simple.
So
well, it sounds like eat a Frosty, and you'll accomplish your goal there.
They could have both.
I only go to Wendy's whenever I get the free Frosty coupons home from my daughter's school. They stick them in her folder and send them home with her as a part of something. I don't know. I guess that doesn't sound like a healthy way to raise America's youth. But hey, we end up at Wendy's, and it turns out Wendy's is electrifying their corporate fleet. So it's Burger King. It's not even.
I was at a Wendy's. What do you?
Does Burger King have Frosties? Where am I going with this?
No, I don't know. I didn't know why we were starting there, but I'm all right with it.
That's funny. Okay, so I don't go to Burger King, but hey, they're fans of EVs apparently. So thank you for the Frosty survey at the beginning of the show, by the way. That's hilarious. All right, so let's move on to the news. Burger King is transitioning 30% of their teen fleet to EVs pretty quickly and 100% electric by 2030. Yeah, that's pretty wild. Justice, we didn't know that Burger King even had a fleet, but it's a corporate fleet, so I guess it's probably like maybe 75 cars, something like that.
Yeah, it's probably just their area directors, I'm assuming, and upper management.
I'm way less excited now that I realized it's Burger King, not Wendy's. Like, I'd never go to Burger King. I don't even care anymore. I wonder what models they're going to opt for. It does not say what vehicles they've chosen. It says that they're relying on a company called Element Fleet Management to secure these EVs for them. Wonder what they're going to buy. I'm going to guess there's going to be some Model 3s involved, but that's just my thinking. Or maybe they'll save $15,000 and get a bunch of Chevy Bolts. I don't know.
Why wouldn't they get Bolts?
That's what Domino's did, right?
Well, here's why. I've seen and actually spoken to a Domino's employee charging his Bolt at an Electrify America station, and he was miserable. I'm sorry to trash on the Bolt so often, you guys, but he was sitting there for about 45, 50 minutes, and he wasn't trying to get to 100%. He was trying to get to like 80%. So, yes, it's a great value deal, especially if you're going to be able to charge at home or at the workplace. Domino's, do that for your employees. But expecting Domino's employees or Burger King employees to charge for an hour, I don't want to do that.
Can I say, Justin, because I worked in pizza for 17 years, 2 of those years I was a delivery driver, I would quit. There's no way I am taking 45 minutes out of my day. 45 minutes, that's probably at least 20 to 30 deliveries. So that's a good $100 out of my pocket as I'm sitting there trying to charge that vehicle. There is no way I would do that.
But we got to keep in mind this can be remedied by simply having a place to charge at the workplace. But I totally see what you're saying for a delivery driver. No way, Jose. What do you think about this, Ray? You think they should go for the Bolt no matter what?
Well, you know, I guess I could plead ignorance. I just don't know enough. Um, but I would think if you're buying it for a corporate fleet, you're going to go as inexpensively as you possibly can. And judging from our headline for today, the Tesla Model 3 is now practically free. But I think that headline must have come out of my son's mouth, not Justice. So I'm just guessing that the Bolt is still less expensive than the Model 3, and I would suppose that they're going to go Bolt no matter what because it's cheap.
Well, let's talk about the Model 3 because we've got a new post over at caredge.com/guides where we're providing more and more content every day. This one came out a few days ago. It was talking about some iSeeCars data. They've got fascinating data over there that showed in the used car market. So maybe these fast food restaurants would be interested in used EVs. I don't know. The Tesla Model 3 is the fastest dropping price in the used car market. It dropped by 21% between September 2022 and February of this year. That is a quick 22%, 21.5% drop. Now, why did this happen? It's because new Tesla prices were slashed. And I'm trying to remember, Justice, what month did that happen? I don't know.
That was December, wasn't it?
No, it was January.
January.
Okay.
Yeah, because everyone tried to get in December, and then Elon dropped them in January and pissed everybody off who was rushing at the end of December to get theirs.
Yeah, and if you were thinking about selling a used Tesla in December, but you waited for a few weeks, that could have been a difference of several $1,000s. Because on CarEdge, Car Search, looking at the used Tesla listings, it's pretty easy to find a used 2019, even 2020 Model 3 Standard Range Plus, which we call rear wheel drive now, I think.
Yeah.
With no accident history for like the mid 30s, sometimes the low 30s in my region. In California, where you've got a flooded market of Teslas, I haven't looked, Justice, but I wonder what the used Tesla market is like in your neck of the woods.
I got a 2020 Standard Range Plus for $24K.
Holy crap, that is amazing.
So that, I mean, yeah, and that was last month, or actually it was, beginning of last month. So that was, they're out there. I talked to somebody yesterday who got I think it was a 2016 Model S for 26.
That is crazy. Okay,
so the deals are out there. The deals are out there on them.
I guess where I live. Well, by the way, it appears we lost Ray. I hope he comes back.
I think he took a quick break.
Maybe need a restroom break.
Yeah.
In my region, there are not as many used Teslas on the market. I mean, there's probably about 10 within a 30-mile radius because I don't live in a highly populated area where people can afford Teslas. So the dealers are probably trying to squeeze every last dollar out of them on the used car market. But it sounds like if you live in an area where there are lots of Teslas on the market, you can get better deals. 24,000, Justice. That's impressive.
Well, I mean, keep in mind, I live in Northern California, the birthplace of Tesla. So they've been around here for 20 years, and our market is definitely flooded with them. I can go, I'm only 90 minutes from the Bay, from actual San Francisco proper. So like we have a lot around us. So that definitely helps in my market, is that you can go to almost any car lot and find a used Tesla out here.
Wow. Well, the one example that comes to mind in my area, I was still amazed that 3 months ago that car went on sale for about $46,000. It's used, of course, used Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus, and now it's on sale for about $35,000. So that drop was amazing to me. But wow, under $30,000 for a used Model 3, I'd tell my wife, sorry, we're selling your Subaru. We're buying a used Model 3. It's happening. And hopefully she'd go along with it. But we've got other Tesla news, don't we?
We do.
This is not really good news. Not at all. Tesla is telling its employees that it expects to lose the full $7,500 federal tax credit here in the States because the LFP batteries for the rear-wheel drive version are produced in China. And we've also got related news out of automotive news. It looks like the U.S. Treasury is expected to release their updated and full EV battery sourcing rules this next week. So it was previously thought that it would be maybe a month into the future, but they've accelerated that timeline. Who knows why? And yeah, Tesla seems to be letting their employees know that there's going to be a mad dash to take delivery of new Teslas before these new rules come into effect. And it looks like April 1st could be the day. So yeah,
That's appropriate for the IRS.
Yeah, the new Model 3 will be a little less affordable when you take the total cost of purchasing it into account. If the EV tax credit was something you could consider,
Yeah.
But don't forget there are lots of state level incentives. I'm trying to remember the name of the website that has an amazing, frequently updated list of every state incentive for EVs, residential solar, heat pumps, any kind of efficiency related upgrade. It's called Desire, DSIRE.org. It's ran by North Carolina State University. So if you're thinking about going electric, you're frustrated that you might be losing out on the federal level of EV tax credits. Yeah, that sucks, but you should also look into state and local EV incentives at desire.org. It's a really cool resource.
I also use energy.gov, which I just put into the chat here. Also has a great resource. I haven't used Desire, so I don't have the link for that. But I will look it up and I will put it in the comments of this video so people can go there and check that out.
Awesome. Thank you, Justice. And yeah, so the Model Y and the other versions of the Model 3 are expected to keep the federal EV tax credit because their batteries are produced in the United States. And as far as Tesla has shared, it looks like the majority of minerals used in those battery packs comes from free trade agreement countries, notably Australia and Canada. So that's good news if you're thinking about a long-range Model 3, performance Model 3. Same for the Model Y. You should still qualify as long as you remain below the price caps, which for sedans, $55,000 is the price cap, and for SUVs and trucks, it's $80,000.
All right, stop talking about right now.
Well, I hope you didn't say anything nice about me.
We never would do that. We never do that. Not behind your back.
I'm glad you're back, Ray, because I wanted to get your opinion on a new concept EV that was unveiled for the Chinese market, but I'm pretty sure it's going to end up in the States within 3 or 4 years, maybe less. It's the Kia EV5. Justice, could you bring up a picture of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Kia EV5 was just unveiled, quote, destined initially for Chinese markets later this year. But they did say initially, so maybe they'll bring it to the States soon after, but I'm pretty sure they're going to bring it to Europe first. Can't forget that just a few weeks ago, I don't know, like 2 weeks ago, Kia officially unveiled the EV9. I don't want a gigantic full-sized electric SUV, but I am much more interested in the EV5. Is it
little?
It's a lot smaller. I would say it appears to be Subaru Forester size. There you go. What do you think about that, Ray?
Wow. That doesn't look little.
It's smaller than the EV9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
EV9 is Goliath. But we don't have specs on this yet. These are all just Car and Driver's best guess right here because literally the other day they announced that it would be headed to the Chinese market. But I think this would become
so this would be Forester CX5 type size.
That's what it appears, but we don't even have any dimension numbers yet.
I kind of thought CX5 too, Ray. That was the first thing that sort of popped into my head on size-wise.
It does look, as so many EVs do, it looks so futuristic.
The rear looks like a Polestar. See if we've got a
Okay.
picture of the rear.
Let's see.
Well, I know Hyundai and Kia think the sincerest form of flattery is imitation. So they steal from every manufacturer out there as far as design cues. So it wouldn't surprise me.
Well, my Ionic 5 doesn't look like anything except the
An
DeLorean.
Ionic 5, yeah.
Looks like the DeLorean.
Yeah.
Only from certain angles.
Wow.
Doesn't that look like the Polestar or the new Volvo XC90 electric?
Yes.
It looks just like it. Just like it.
So,
but if it costs 30,000 less, I'm all for it.
so why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they at first think about bringing it to the U.S. market? Is because it wouldn't be built here, and because its battery wouldn't be from here, so it wouldn't qualify for any of the credits.
Well, that is true. It would not qualify for any of the credits unless they built it at the factories that they've got in the southeastern U.S. But I don't know, Ray. Right now they're bringing it to the Chinese market first.
Well,
that's happening a lot more lately.
Isn't the Chinese market like the biggest market in the world at the moment?
Yes.
I forget what year they surpassed our market, but it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, but
they are now the number one. Yeah.
But here's the thing. I mean, they have a population of what, 3 billion people?
Not that many.
Huh?
It's not that many. It's like
how many?
1.6. Let me look.
Okay. So 1.6 billion, and we have a population in the United States of 320 million. So
400 million.
No, we're nowhere near 400 million.
Okay, you're right. It's 330 million. Sorry, I stand corrected.
So I mean, no wonder they would be the largest market.
Yeah.
I mean, the only market that would be bigger would be India. But, they're not buying a lot of electric cars, I wouldn't think.
They're starting to. Their market is ramping up. I'd say in the next 5 years, India is going to be pretty big.
Yeah, when it comes, it seems like India is where China was 10 years ago in terms of the automotive market.
Yeah, and in India, wouldn't the disparity between those who have and those who don't, isn't it much greater in India than in other places, including China?
Well, China doesn't really openly share that kind of economic info. They don't want the world to know the details. But we could assume yes, Ray.
And just based on the number of apartment buildings and condominiums and everything else that they've built in China, some of which they've torn down because they couldn't sell. It would seem to me that there's a lot more wealth involved in China, and there's probably more of a Chinese middle or upper class than there is in India. I'm just assuming.
Yeah, that could be true. But as we get ready to move on to the next vehicle that's not making it to America, I do want to mention just how little we know about specifically the Kia EV5. They're not even mentioning if it's going to be based on the same electric platform, the eGMP platform that the Ioniq 5 and EV6 and EV9 are built on. They literally haven't told us anything except sharing these fancy pictures. But Ray, when it comes to the markets and how that all comes to play, I agree with you. I don't know what's going to happen next, but Justice, if you got what I just sent you, I'm more frustrated about this Ford news. I've had some of our CarEdge members reach out to me and ask if there's going to be an electric Explorer at some point. Well, it turns out there is. Here it is right here on the screen.
Wait, doesn't that look like the back of an EV5 that we just talked about?
Yes.
Light bars are in style. The front of it even looks kind of similar.
It does. It actually does.
An electric
not to prove Ray's point that they all look the same.
They do.
Yeah. It's destined for the European market, and I have less confidence that this will end up in the US within the next 2 or 3 years. I could see this being here in 5 years, but Ford has a long history of launching vehicles in Europe that don't ever make it to the States. I fear that this could be one, even though I think it would be a great seller. But on the Ray and Zach show yesterday, you guys were talking about Ford's other problems, which are financial in nature.
Well, the fact that
they're a startup company.
The
What
startup.
are you talking
Startup.
about?
And they
Right.
lose $22,000 on every EV that they sell.
I wonder how much Hyundai loses.
I don't know.
Have to
How
look
much
it up.
does Tesla lose?
Oh, that's right. They have the highest profit per vehicle in the world. That's right.
Okay.
If
yeah.
only Ford could go and tour the factory and say, "Hey, what are you guys doing?"
How many years was it before Tesla became profitable?
Oh, like it was like 15, 16. It was a long time. It was a long time. I mean, and let's be honest, like I think Justin and I have talked about this too. Their cap and trade credits have really helped them become profitable.
Mhm.
It's not just the sale of their vehicles.
Mhm.
Their cap and trade credits are where, I mean, a good 50% of their money comes from, and help to build out that network and do everything else. So they're not relying just on their vehicle sales.
Gotcha.
So that has helped them a lot.
Yep, 2020 was the first profitable quarter for Tesla. But I wonder when Ford's EV startup will become profitable. Yeah, they did split it into a new division. It's called Ford Model E. We've got an article all about it over at the website. But
Let me help you with that part, Justin. Ford has said that by 2026 that the Model E division will be making 8% net profit. So they're going to go from a 40% net loss in 2022, 2023 to a 8% net profit in 2026. And if you believe that, as somebody once said, I got a bridge to sell you.
Well, they must be relying on lots of robots to make these cars with minerals from all the mines that they have that we don't know about, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do that.
Well,
Yeah,
they're going to.
that would be the comeback story of the century.
Well, and they believe that they'll have the ability to produce and sell 2 million electric vehicles annually globally by 2026. Now, whether or not that's doable, I don't know, and whether or not there's actually enough demand for them to produce and sell 2 million EVs globally by 2026. I think there's a bunch of people in the executive wing of that company that all share the same pair of rose-colored glasses. But that's just me.
I think there'll be demand for that many vehicles. I don't know if there'll be demand for that many vehicles out of one manufacturer.
Well, but that's the point.
Yeah, I know. To your point, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, how do you? I mean, Ford has 2 EVs now, and I still see I can still go to the lot and see both of them.
They've also got the E-Transit, so technically.
Oh, that's right. Well, now I think that is probably going to be a winner for them.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be more than the Lightning, more than the Mach-E. I think the E-Transit is going to be Ford's big winner.
If you're a fleet operator in like an urban area, it makes complete sense to go electric for fuel savings and maintenance savings, because maintenance is a huge cost for fleet operators. But I've got some trivia for you guys with this Ford Explorer Electric going on sale in Europe. Ready? Who is making and supplying the powertrain for the Ford Explorer Electric?
The powertrain.
Yeah, the electric powertrain, the battery, electric motors.
LG.
No, it's a bigger name that is more of a household name.
GE?
It's a competitor. It's a competitor.
Yeah.
It's a competitor to Ford. Justice, you saw it because
I mean, yeah, I'm literally looking at the article right now. So, like, I've a cheat. That's why I was not.
The answer is Volkswagen.
Tesla?
It's
Volkswagen.
VW.
Wow.
Yeah, VW.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's another bit of evidence that this ain't going to happen in the U.S. anytime soon.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't see Volkswagen of America supplying powertrains to Ford in America anytime soon. But Justice, I remembered you had some other Model 3 news that I skipped over. This is a bit of lighthearted news, if not concerning.
Well, Model 3 Cybertruck, yeah. So they did the in Vancouver, they did the Pond to Own hacker convention that they do, where hackers all come together and try to hack everybody's software and vehicles and see if they can get in. And this year, the Cybertruck Model 3 lost, and hackers were able to get in and take over and control the vehicle remotely. So they won $100,000 and walked away with a free Model 3. And as always, of course, they don't publish how this was done to protect people who own these vehicles,
Thankfully,
for obvious reasons. But of course, they tell the manufacturers how they were able to hack, so they can then remove the exploits and etc. So bad news for Tesla, but not bad news for Tesla owners. Kind of the way I look at that, like, because yes, they were hacked, but certainly by Tesla's going to take all that information and patch all that and fix it, hopefully.
But the automotive industry pays less to white hat hackers to find and exploit these issues than any other industry out there, which is why there's probably more avenues for hackers to be able to eventually take over more and more vehicles. Other electronic concerns, they pay a lot more to these good guys that are hacking than your folks in the automotive industry do. So,
yeah, I bet on average they absolutely do, and that is sort of a scary thing when you think about it. Like, hey, for my car, can you just make sure that it's tested thoroughly, and that we don't have 20 years later that you can hack my Kia and drive off with it so much that insurance carriers stop
don't want to insure
dropping my car.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's something that we need to pay a little bit more for.
Wow.
Like, you can take over my iPad. I'm more okay with that than taking over my car.
I would think.
Yeah.
How's it been going at the superchargers lately, Justice? I understand you had a bit of an interesting experience.
Yeah. So I'm going to get on my soapbox for a moment, if everyone doesn't mind. I'll tell a story and then I want to get on my soapbox. So I was at the charger last night, and I get a knock on my window while I'm watching Ray and his roundtable from the other night, because I missed the beginning of it when I came into it. All I saw was apparently someone had cursed on air, and everyone was mentioning me. So apparently that is now my reputation, is that I curse on air. Oh, you pulled a Justice. I'm like, oh, good. That's a good reputation. Glad I got that. So appreciated that. So I'm watching that video. I get a knock on my window. I roll down, and they're like, hey, we just bought this Model S. We don't know how to charge it. What do we do? Can you help us? And I said, absolutely. So I jumped out, and we're talking. Turns out that the dealer sold it to them, and we've talked about this, Ray, several times. Used car dealer sold them the used Model S. They didn't do crap with it. They knew nothing about the car.
Yeah.
And Justin, they sold it to him with 6% battery.
Oh my goodness.
6% battery. So Ray, for an ICE car, that is your gas light is on.
Yeah.
And it's been on for a little while.
Yes.
You're running on fumes. So they sold it with 6% battery. Wow. And then that was it. They didn't do anything for them. The mats and everything were thrown in the trunk. They like did not detail this car, walk through it with them. They had no idea how to do it. They just gave them the fob and told them to drive away. So they came to the Tesla station. They had added their vehicle to the app. But one thing I'm sure you don't know, Ray, is when you add a Tesla to the app, it'll tell you it'll take 3 to 5 days for your vehicle to be added.
Wow.
It doesn't usually take that. For me, it took about 90 minutes.
Yeah.
But if you're on 6% battery and you drive, 5 blocks to the Tesla charger, your car's not there. There was nothing they could do. They could not charge this vehicle. because at a
Wow.
Tesla charger, your vehicle needs to be in your app for you to charge it. So they couldn't charge it. So they said their apartment complex had some chargers. I said, I'll follow you there, make sure that, you can get on and get charging. So I follow him there. He gets there and he has not 1%. He has 1 mile left on his vehicle pulling into that spot. So if it didn't work,
He's screwed.
You're calling Tesla to
Yeah.
come out and give you a charge because there's nothing else you can do. So he gets there with 1 mile. It's, of course, not a Tesla charger at the apartment complex. I dig through his trunk and everything. They gave him the cable, not in a bag, just a loose cable they'd thrown in there. Didn't know anything about it. No attachments. So the attachment that comes with it, the adapter, wasn't there. So I gave him mine. We get it up. Of course, they have to set up an account with this new charger. So they have to set up that account and get it. So we get it finally charging. Of course, it's going to take like 11 hours because it's an L2 charger and he has 0 battery. That wasn't preconditioned because he couldn't precondition it. So he's just sitting there and this. So like I got mad at the dealer for not knowing anything. Like if you're going to sell an EV, you damn well better know at least the basics of it.
Sure.
And they didn't. And these guys knew nothing about it other than the YouTube videos that they had looked at. And they had done some research on their own to know that they were buying a good vehicle. And they got the Carfax history, but they didn't know to check out the battery health ahead of time. So I told them, you need to make an appointment at Tesla and go check out your battery health and do that. And, I gave them some of my pointers, but they knew nothing. The dealer knew nothing. They didn't charge the vehicle. They refused to do much or anything for them. And here's the part where I get on my soapbox. They went to other people before me at the Tesla supercharger who were charging their Teslas.
Mm-hmm.
And several of them blew them off, gave them looks, get away from me, leave me alone. And let me say, we live in a society with other human beings. If you want to go live in a shack in Montana and write your manifesto about industrialization, you go do that. Fine, you don't have to be part of society. But if you're in society here, you're using your smartphone, you're driving your car, you're taking public transportation, using public roads, you're part of a society. And the part of that is a social contract to help your fellow man when they're down. I'm not saying you have to go help every homeless person that you see. That's a huge problem. But if someone is something simple like, hey, can you show me how to do this?
Charge this?
Yeah. You're at a gas station. Like I've had this come up before. A new car person goes at a gas station. Like, I don't know how to fill my tank. How do I open or where's the fuel door? Especially those in the 80s. Remember when they were behind license plates and up,
Yes.
they were hidden all over the place. But you help people. So there's a social contract in this country and most countries. You help people. And let me dive even further. If you have a new adopter to tech, like Tesla, and this is still new. I understand they're a 20-year-old company, but it's still new. Just get out of your car and help somebody. Like, I don't understand this mentality of get away from me. This wasn't in the middle of the night, a single woman sitting in her car with a stranger coming up. This is a Tesla supercharger station with 20 superchargers, and literally every single one of them were full. And everybody was in their car. You're in a well-lit area with tons of people. You can't get out and help somebody. Like, that is beyond to me. I can't believe that. And I've never run into that. Usually Tesla people are very nice and very willing to help. So, I mean, I did my part, but I was just appalled at the people who weren't willing to get out and help somebody. Just asking a simple, easy question. Can you show me how to do this? I don't expect everyone to drive 5 miles and follow them to their apartment complex and do that. I did that just because I'm me. Okay, that's fine. But you couldn't get out of your car and say, here's how you charge. Like, that's just beyond to me.
You're making me very appreciative of how messy Electrify America stations are, because when everything's broken, you kind of just have to talk to each other.
Yeah, well, that's what society is. And it really irked me, as you can tell. It really irked me that happened and that people acted like that. And I expect more out of society in general, but I really expect more out of Tesla people. Come on.
You know, I have a saying that I've been known to utter once or twice. It doesn't cost to be nice. It
No.
usually pays. You know,
And-
what's a little extra effort to help someone, to thank someone? You know, when I used to manage dealerships, you know, managers can be tyrants or they can be humans. And when I managed dealerships, when somebody did something where they went above and beyond, or even if they just did something that I thought was like a normal thing to do, I personally thanked them for doing it. You know, how much more can you get out of people by treating them nicely and being helpful?
I will tell you, as a former restaurant manager, the nastier you were, the less likely I was going to help you. And the
Yeah.
nicer you were, the more I was going to go out of my way, and you were going to get far more from me than you were by trying to berate me. You start berating me,
Yes.
and I want to get you out of there. You start berating my staff, and you're getting nothing out of me, and you're just getting out.
So, Ray, with what you were just talking about, I'm a bit worried, a bit concerned, because two of the largest charging networks that are beginning to be installed and starting to grow right now are at dealership networks. I mean, Ford and GM,
Yes.
and others, but Ford and GM are the big ones I know about. They are starting to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to put these
Yes.
fast chargers at dealership lots. I hope that goes well, but I am worried
If
because of what you said.
if I was a manager at a Ford or GM dealership where we install public chargers, I would also add staff, not sales staff, but just staff, EV experts or EV geniuses, just there to help people figure out how to use the charger there, to answer basic questions. You know, when our mini store, BMW came up with their mini or their BMW geniuses. They were not salespeople; they were just experts in the BMW brands, and they would do deliveries for salespeople. Well, we were the first mini store that we created our own genius program, and I remember I had a customer one day. It was a Saturday. We were busy, and the customer wanted to drive a car. And I said, "Here's the deal. You're going to be able to drive the car. This is Brian. Brian is our mini genius. He can answer any question you have. Okay. He can share with you all the information and knowledge that he has. And when you get back from your test drive and you tell me you want to buy that car, the one thing Brian can't do is he can't sell it to you, because that's not what he does. He's just here to help educate you." And the guy came back. He said, "But I want Brian to sell it to me." I said, "He can't. That's not what he does. His job is to now go help some other customer have a better understanding of what a mini is and what makes mini. And that's the type of people that, if I was running a Ford store or a GM store that had public chargers, I would just have experts out there to help customers who might not necessarily be driving a Ford or a GM. But my hope would be that by treating them humanely, that they would remember when it was time to replace that vehicle, and they'd think to themselves, well, that dealership helped me when they didn't have to. But
Yeah,
that's just
exactly.
me.
And you need what, one person, Ray? You need to
Yeah.
pay for one person who can help everyone who has the EV
Yes.
questions. Hey, you know what? I want this car, Mr. Salesman. Great. Let me get Brian over here, and he can explain it all to you. I will listen in as a salesperson.
Yes.
So I also learn, and we can walk through it. He can answer all of your questions, and we can get this deal done. Like, how easy is that?
The concept in my mind is that at the dealership level, we are farmers. And what I mean by that is we plant seeds with customers. And if we do a nice job with those customers, they'll let us know when it's time to harvest. But if we're not nice to people and we're not planting those seeds, we're never going to have that opportunity to harvest.
You know, what this brings
Yeah.
to mind is Manny at Hyundai 112 in Long Island. That
Mhm.
he's who I
Yep.
bought my Hyundai Ioniq 5 from, and that whole experience was so amazing that if I ever need another Hyundai, I'm going to go all the way to Long Island in New York
Yes.
to buy another one from him, because it was just like the golden example we're talking about. We need more of.
Well, I have sent Manny 3 people just this week. So, you know, we're definitely paying it forward to those good dealerships and the good salespeople. You know, we want to help. And if people are in that area looking for that vehicle, look,
Mhm.
when we know who to send them to, I mean, oh, look. So there you go.
Yeah.
Now it's 6. So I mean, that's great.
Yeah. It's all about farming.
Yep. All right. So Justin, final thoughts of the day.
Yeah, go shop around for those used Model 3s, because I think they're an amazing value right now. The Model 3 is a great car. If you can get one for 30,000 or under, that's just mind blowing. Check them out at caredge.com/buy.
Yeah. And by the way, me too. I taught my salesman about the Tesla. He didn't teach me anything. Ray, your final thoughts for the day?
Well, it's I say it every week. The more we do this, the more I learn about EVs, and I know my my headline under my name is "Give Me Gas" or "Give Me Death," but I got to tell you, you know, I might change that in the near future to "Give Me a Hybrid" or "Give Me Death."
Plug-in hybrid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm getting more and more used to EVs, and I appreciate the education that I'm getting.
Thank you. We're glad that you know, you're learning, and you know, as I always say, I'm never here to convince anybody. I'm just here to help educate you. So if you hate EVs, you have a real reason to,
Yep.
instead of a made up one. That's all I care about.
I agree with Justin.
Just have a good reason. So thank you very much for being here, everybody. I will be helping Ray out tomorrow on the Saturday show on the CarEdge main channel.
Yes.
Not electric, the main channel. So everyone tune in there and see. I have no idea what we're talking about, Ray, but you'll tell me.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. And we'll be back here on Tuesday on the electric channel with more whatever is going on in the world, maybe about the new Tesla test drive where no human being will be involved other than you.
Wow.
Yeah. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for being here, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.